Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank. If you're thinking about starting a business or know someone who is, check out Emprise Bank's SBA loans. It's always good to know your options, and they can be your partner in possible.
It's the KC Laboratory presented by Emprise Bank, member FDIC, our incredible partners in possible here at KC Sports Network. And it's a very special episode of The Lab. I think it's the first time all three of us have been together on the show since yesterday. No, like a lab. Since September? I think early September, Craig might have jumped on, but most of the time when you jumped on, it's been like, me mostly.
Well, yeah, so on that note, Kit,
You'll notice the Kit and I are not sitting next to each other right now, so.
Yeah, there's a lot of tension here. You guys really want to know why. Yeah, well, together. There's so much tension, but yeah, Craig, Maddie, myself, all here together, celebrating another Super Bowl appearance, and we've all had a chance to watch this game. Some of us multiple times. I think like the best way to start this one would just be to time to process some things. You had a little bit of time to watch some of the tape. How are you feeling about that game? Just kind of, after after a little bit of time to settle down and all that. Maddie, we'll start with you.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack, I think, from the game. And as the weeks go on, we had a chance to really sit down and watch it even more closer, go through stuff. There'll be other takes and things. So I guess we have a couple different games about this before they play the Super Bowl. But I didn't take right now, the big thing that sticks out to me is just the Chiefs have the better situational football, and not just football, but like this better situational players and coaches. There is not a single moment that pops up in a game in which the Chiefs aren't going to have the advantage, whether that's on defense with Steve Spagnuolo, whether that's on defense with Chris Jones, and you trimming up in his matchups. So offensively, you've got Andrew Dowks up, you've got Patrick Mahomes. There's just any situation that pops up, they seem to have a better answer than their opponent. And I think that covers talent gaps, holes in the roster. When there's momentum or game flows that are leaning towards the other team, they're just better in all of these small little situations. And I think when you start to rewatch the game and figure out how close they are, it was close. A lot of those things came up Chiefs. A lot of the luck, the turnover luck came up Bills, but a lot of like the small situational differences kept coming up Chiefs. And it's been that with that Steers the Ravens, and the year before, and the year before, all these things just continues to go up the Chiefs. That's not my ass.
Not at all. I think it was very funny listening to, the national media talking heads, all of this. Going into this game, it was a lot of, oh, well, this is the Bills' year, or, this players, this matchup, this thing. It never really was talked about, hey, what's Andy got cooking? What does Matt Nagy have cooking? What does Connor Embry have cooking? What does Steve Spagnuolo have cooking? And then kind of the fallout from this game has been a lot of those same national media people that looked at this game and went, the Bills are team. The Bills are going to do this. The Bills are going to do this. Took a look at the game and went, oh, man, look at all these things that happened for the first time. Wow, all of these new wrinkles that Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo brought into this game. How did that happen? It happens every year. And they just get themselves into these situational football moments. They execute at such a high level. It is very clear how much they keep close to the vest. I mean, Patrick Mahomes had his very first designed run of the season on his touchdown run this week. Of the season.
And that was a playoff Kareem Hunt's touchdown run to start the game. It's the exact same play, only this time Mahomes keeps it and pulled out as the tight ends around there eating away from him. It's just little stuff like that. It just happens over and over and get dropped.
Yeah, they pull GT action, and the Titans are out there with Mahomes, and he's running for a touchdown. I think you can't really talk about the Kansas City Chiefs during the regular season, and I think that's the second straight year that's been proven, is the regular season doesn't matter. And a lot of the narratives, a lot of the conversation surrounding this team cannot be placed in this neat little box and packaged during the regular season. And that creates a lot of discourse about this team that isn't enjoyable, that isn't fun. From the from a national perspective, you really, but the reason you don't hear some of those things, and because they haven't happened yet. These new wrinkles, these new looks, these new plays, they haven't been revealed yet. And you can't just say, oh, there's a mystery box here coming. Steve Spagnuolo's got something cooking. What's it going to be? That's not discourse that can really happen when you are, when you're having high-level conversations of a team. So what do you got to go off? You got to go off the regular season. You got to go up the things that you see. You got to go by the DVOA. You got to go by the numbers. You got to go by all the things that this team is we put on tape during the season. And I think we just saw yet again, first off, I think everything to this point validates 15-1 in a different way.
Oh yeah.
Because, the DVOA doesn't seem to indicate 15-1. And the point differential really doesn't seem to validate 15-1 and all this stuff. Blah, 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 blah. But no, this is just a team that knows how to win, that knows how to use the regular season as a process. Use it as a way to peak at the right time, to play their best football at the right time, set things up for the biggest moments of your entire season. And they just so happen to win 15 games in 16 attempts while doing so.
Yeah, and you said it, you can't, I understand from the national media perspective when you're talking about this team, we will do the same song and dance next year to get maybe a season. You can't just say, well, the Chiefs are playing, and the Chiefs legitimately are playing 2 different seasons, so regular season and in the playoffs. And half the time, the playoffs don't even start till the AFC Championship round because the matchup in the first round doesn't quite get in there, right? So, but we're going to do it again next year, and it's going to look bad in some weeks. And maybe they win 11 games, maybe they win 15 games. We don't really know what it's going to be. It's going to look different. And then when it's time for things to really get started, you are going to get a different version of this team. You're going to get a different Andy Reid. You're going to get a different Steve Spagnuolo. You're going to get a different X, Y, Z, always take it different places. And it's just going to be a different team. It's no fun to sit here and say, well, yeah, Chiefs don't care about the regular season, which isn't true. It's not they don't care, but they are not trying to win regular season records or awards or anything. I continue to say that the Ravens always look really good in the regular season because they have, this is the stuff we're good at. This will be broad. We're going to build off this and we're going to do it week in and week out. And it's going to look great. And when you run against a team and do a team that you are out talented and they don't have answers to your scheme, you are going to look like $1 billion and put up 50 points and look awesome. The Ravens, even during their playoff wins, and you go back and find some of them, though, it's a lot more of a slog because all of a sudden everybody knows what they're trying to do. They have got this, they got the book on it, and now they're trying new stuff. The Ravens, they're still just doing their stuff. The Chiefs are the opposite of that. This isn't singling out a specific team, which I think the Ravens are one of the better examples of it. Then you look at the Chiefs, they rather win a game 3-0 in the regular season and show absolutely nothing. Realistically, if they could get to 0-0 at the end of the game and win the last people, they would love that. They showed nothing, and they just want to get to the regular season or the postseason and get these games that matter, and then just let everything.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. I mean, DVOA, very popular metric that's out right now. Basically, the Chiefs have spent the Mahomes era making some of the best DVOA teams of all time miss the Super Bowl. These teams have to put that out there every single week during the regular season, leading up to the playoffs. They have to put their best foot on the field every single time. The Kansas City Chiefs do not. They don't. It's not to say that they're not trying. It's not to say that they're not, trying to win football victories. Definitely, they definitely are. But they're trying to do it with the minimum level of effort that they have to exert. And there's such a good football team that you can play 16 games during the regular season with that football team and win 15 of them. Yes, it's frustrating to watch. Yes, it's frustrating to hear the national narrative. But the Chiefs have beaten every single team that they played this year. Yeah. And after they beat the Buffalo Bills last night, they've beaten every single team that they have played this year. And it has had varying frustration levels. It has had varying levels of, okay, well, that was good. And what are we going to take from this and all of that? But in the end, we get to this game, and they have not just the best players on the field, best scheme, best game plan, the best everything. It really was the best. So even when turnover luck, things like that, with the Buffalo Bills way, it didn't matter in the end. It really didn't.
And you'll a little bit of pushback on that. The Buffalo Bills had a point differential of +6 against the Kansas City Chiefs this year. So, I mean, probably, they should probably just move on and advance if they were 6 in the end. I mean, that's what everybody focuses on. And during the regular season, just look at like the year and all this stuff. Those conversations. It speaks to like how this team has looked during the season, and then they just find a way to play their best football at the right time, change your DNA, all that stuff. You look at right now, if you look at like ESPN, and you look at kind of like their percentage odds of winning this game, Chiefs versus Eagles. Eagles are at the 56% chance of winning this game per ESPN, and that's going to be based on a lot of talk about the process of the regular season, getting into the situation, playing their best football at the right time. But like a lot of week 5 and week 9 are being considered right now when it's coming to some of this some of these metrics.
Well, because you can't just flip a switch. And no other football team could just do that. I just walk in and go, now we're going to play our best football every single year. And they're doing but it's also this speaks to this is their team is because they exceed expectations. They are normal. This is team built. This is not how most teams are supposed to be able to handle things. You're not supposed to just have this kind of ingrained in your organization the way it is, but that's the reality of this team. And it's just not easy to be able to convey any of that. And so you just have to get lazy with the numbers without acknowledging a track record. And I said this, like, last year's defense is almost the same as the Chiefs sans L'Jarius Sneed, right? And I know that sucks, not you, but it's not. But there's so many pieces that are very similar to this defense. So like you've got Patrick Mahomes, you've got Chad Kelsey, and you've got an interior offensive line, and now the interior offensive line on the left side too. But I don't think people they don't know how to talk about them, and that's fine. But it's annoying, and it's not our talk about refs.
Well, we're not talking about the refs. They were bad as always, but it was fine. Like it was me saying, I'm not saying one way or the other. Refing's hard. Refing's very hard. Weird. We're still in Dallas. We're still in Frisco, Texas, at the Special Bowl. And one of my favorite things to do for one practice is this. I like to listen to eShop because they are training not like new refs, but they are helping people like learn to be refs. So they have like the older guys, the better rapper, or the veterans that are explaining it, just listening to the nuance of what they go through to just teach people. You get a separate look at this. Is a little bit more to it than just like, oh, hey, look, our 100 camera kick is in slow motion. You can pick out these penalties. Calling. I'm not saying refs are good. I want to be very clear. I think refing does a bad job, but it's really, really hard. So refing was bad. I don't think it was unfair. We're moving off that now. I just had to get that in there. You see, people want to talk about the Chiefs, and there's all this stuff to it, and like no other team can just turn the switch. Yada. I agree. I think there's one reason the other team can do that. One reason. He wears number 15, It's Patrick Mahomes, and the more I went back and watched this game, the more you look at all the stats and everything, it's not a one-man game. You see every other parts, the coaches and stuff matter. But I think you could replace Patrick Mahomes with any other quarterback, and you're not getting the same results. It's just not happening. You've been a quarterback any time of the world, it hits, and you're not getting the same results. In this game, right, Patrick Mahomes led average 0.65 EPA per play. The success rate for the Chiefs on pass downs was 68%. That's 99th percentile all time. 68% of the plays they drop back and they do the ball on was a successful play. That is one of the best turnouts of all time. It was in the playoffs. In the biggest spot, the biggest overall success rate on the game and EP per play did like 97th percentile. If you remove that fumble, that's maybe not his fault. It jumps up to like a near perfect game by every metric, right? It's absolutely insane how well he played. The throws he makes, the reads he makes, the plays he was making in this game, like he was 100% ready for this game. And the thing that really stands out, I think I said this to Kent earlier, the last two AFC championship games, the opposing fan base has had a quarterback that they is a rival to Patrick Mahomes. I'm like, they're correct, but they're not even. They're on the same grade. Kind of. But this is a bigger stick. This is bigger by points more than the last two. So the last two times you have Lamar Jackson. If he beat, what's he? They're going to play him. He's playing better than Patrick Mahomes right now. Well, they lost. Josh Allen this year should have won it. He played better than Patrick Mahomes right now. Okay. He played better than Patrick Mahomes. He's on his level right now. If he wins this game, he's the new best quarterback. He lost to him. What did their fans do the very next day or even after the game? Oh, we should have taken the football out of our as good as Patrick Mahomes players' hands more often. We did, or we gave the ball to our best player too much. We gave the ball to our best players too often to beat Patrick Mahomes. Does it make sense to anybody? Would you ever, as a Chiefs fan, be like, take the ball out of Mahomes' hands more to have a chance to win?
I mean, there have been times where I wish they would have run the ball a few more times, but like that's what it is. It's more of like take time off the clock, get something going, on the ground game, just to make yourself less predictable, but not in a big moment. I would not want, like, again, you're referencing like, oh, James Cook should have ignored this.
Just that fourth year, it's now we stretch.
Yeah, exactly. It's something like that. It's just like,
where Henry go?
Yeah.
That way he wasn't there last week. Why did they run the ball more with Gus Edwards?
But I mean, when it boils down to it, we spent all year talking about it. During the regular season, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, maybe even Joe Burrow, were better quarterbacks than Patrick Mahomes was. I don't have any problem saying that. Get to the playoffs, there was not a better quarterback performance this weekend than what Patrick Mahomes did. He was unconscious. He was unbelievable. At no point did I ever waver and think that this team was not going to win that game after that first drive, including thinking that they'd already won the game earlier. So you're weighing, Rick. It was not because of
about 9.4 yards per game. Just like it's just look at, he gets a little like, there's some lazy, bad fake narratives about this team and like boring in the last 2 weeks. It's really just, it's shoddy. But I think Patrick Mahomes doesn't have to pull the Patrick Mahomes card as much as other people, as much as they needed to in the past, because he's just so boringly efficient and great at everything. And like that sounds so like blanket statement, but it's true. He's just so consistent on the little things, and he's so consistent at, like the look at the RPOs to start the game, right? And he is just nerving, just absolute perfection. It's not just like, hey, like we're gonna spam this glance RPO. They read some leverage, I think, a couple times. But he up and down the ball over a linebacker with some perfection to open that game. Like they started fast. I'm sure they had an intentionality to start passing. Like they pulled some stuff out that really hadn't got into too much during the season, and they just ran it until they scored. But it's just like he played so many different versions of football in that game. You saw him with the RPO. You saw like, hey, we need to do the completes and outside completions here because we're just going to take on Kyer or Elam here. And then you saw, hey, like, you need to use your legs this possession. Like he was asked to do so many different things during that game to generate offense for that team. And like you can't find a quarterback that can just bob and weave and go in and out of styles of football the same way he was able to. Like that was a defining, it's kind of like, we talk about like, hey, like he's only going to get better. He's only going to, there's certain things about your game that you don't lose this Rolodex of information that you have at your disposal, all these things. And like you saw 3 different versions of the Patrick Mahomes era in one game with this game against the Bills. And it's just, he's not even 30.
And you said like, they don't got to go to the Patrick Mahomes card. They don't got to pull it down. I don't think it's they don't very good to it. It's just the Patrick Mahomes card is no longer left-handed throws. It's no longer putting up 10 seconds, exceeding up a 40 off platform. That's not the Mahomes card anymore. The Mahomes card now is, I read this play out before the snap. I know what coverage this is, and I'm going to get the ball to the correct receiver immediately right away. So Like it's just different now. And I think that makes people think it's more advertised. He's doing the supercomputer thing. And then when he needs to, he busts out the talent that we know we have. So it's different. And I think people do appreciate it. I just think during the regular season when he's building up to that, I think people get a little bit lost. Like, oh, he's not making those same plays he made in 2018 anymore. And now it's not as fun to watch for a minute. Maybe that's sure. Maybe it's not as fun for some people to watch. I get that. But when you watch this performance, it was a masterclass across the board. It wasn't just Drew Brees taking every 5-yard pass. There was some crazy arming stuff. There was that were really phenomenal. It's just not the same as what it once was. I think everyone's still holding into that level, that standard of difficulty, play in and play out. When he doesn't need to play that way, it probably shouldn't.
He doesn't need it, and that's the point. Is he doesn't have to? Could he not get got? He's always he's one step ahead most of the time, and he plays. It's excitable.
He had 245 yards, and it felt like 300. Like it did. It really did. It doesn't have to be flashy anymore. It's not bombs away, verticality all the time, and it's not just taking what the defense is giving you either. He solved problems out there like he always does in these big moments. That's what he was able to do. And yeah, it's not as, quote, fun. Winning is still fun. Winning AFC championship games is fun. Going to the Super Bowl is fun. It doesn't have to be super flashy, crazy, high-scoring offense all the time there. So it was their highest point total of the year, but it was just one of those that the entire game you just watched him play football and you went, he's the best player on the field, always has been, always will be. It's just that's who he is now, and he can win every single way that you could possibly ask him to. It's great.
He had 3 completions over 3 yards and 9.4 yards per attempt, and 7 receivers had completions that were longer than 10 yards.
And I believe the Juju one was a catch and run, right?
It was a catch.
Yes. I don't remember what the air yards was, but it was good. It was
ET. But yeah, he player out of this community. I mean, he was the only really a lot of good players that had really big performances in this game. We're going to talk more about them right after this.
Shop Chiefs tickets and more with no fees. Plus, save big with code KCSN at ticketsforless.com, the official ticket provider of KC Sports Network.
Thanks everyone hanging out with us tonight. It's been a fun 24 hours celebrating this Chiefs victory, and I mean it's been a fun season.
Craig hasn't stopped celebrating.
Oh, I stopped celebrating. I woke up this morning. They realized I celebrated too hard last night. He had veggies.
We went out to practice to the East West Triangle. Tremendous. It was a tremendous event. We got all kinds of great stuff coming from it. We have some fun stuff already up. Go check it out. Some local prospects finishing some lyrics. We got some football questions in there too, for sure. You're going to be hearing all that stuff here on KC Sports Network. But you know how it is here at KCSN since it's been founded. The draft season doesn't start until like mid-February. Because they can't see Chiefs are always in the Super Bowl. So you still got plenty of a regular season or regular football. That's about where the draft gets going. But yeah, check it out when the time comes. So I implore you to find someone that had a bad performance, like a really truly bad performance in this game, because that's when love a big Kyrie and DeMar I meant for the Chiefs. So he boy. Real. Kyrie, the guy, the Chiefs, so you can get more people. No, Kyrie, the guy that Chiefs traded ahead of the Bills to get Trey McDuffie, a blue chip player, one of the best cornerbacks in football. The Bills have to settle for Kyrie, and Kyrie has been awful. The Bills are
awful. Just stop playing.
I think that tells you everything you need to know. It's work. Christian Benford, good on the Bills for firing Christian Benford, because without him, they would be royally screwed. That Brentford goes out though with the concussion, which again I have no idea how he got cleared, and that was terrifying and scary. And I'm glad he's doing okay. And Brentford's come out and said that he's doing okay. But the Chiefs immediately just went after Kyrie and just pointed to the flaws of Bill's strategy. And I think actually anything really kind of something on two. The Bills tried to throw a pass, and they tried to throw a fade out to Keon Coleman on Trevor Dumpy. I'm thinking in love with him either.
Well, let's recap. Shoot straight up in front of the Bills. We get Trevor Dumpy. If they won it, according to the show media clip, they became Kyrie set. The Chiefs this year did trade up with the Bills to get Xavier Ward,
who went 6 for 85 and a touchdown.
Gate.
They instead did go Keep Poland their wives. So Keep Poland doesn't catch a pass and Trevor Dumpy. And Xavier Ward does catch the pass in Kyrie.
Read how that works.
Yeah.
I feel like there was another trade that occurred between. Oh, right, the Patrick Mahomes trade. Yeah, that worked.
Well, okay. I don't know. I was told that they got traded Davis White and then it put them in a position to get Josh Allen. So certainly the trade's even, and both teams have won the same amount of playoff games. 2 Wolves.
Yep, absolutely. That's how it works.
Sorry, we're going at Bill's crazy right now. It's cool.
It's just funny, and I think it was really funny, and it set up what was potentially a hilarious narrative that Xavier Worthy would go off against the Buffalo Bills in the AFC Championship game after the Bills helped the Chiefs acquire him, and it happened. This is any can happen that would do funny will in favor of.
Yeah, no, it is. We are you guys are that doesn't that bad. You might want to see the Chiefs a bad game. Mike Kelly, has Sansville with your offensive line of the Buffalo Bills, and that eats the cheaper. See those PZQs. Offensively, I felt like everybody pretty much played well. It's a little interesting. The Chiefs really don't have an interest in playing DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, that's real interesting.
I said there was a slant flat that became Travis Kelce's Texans, and it was man coverage. He kind of stuttered, and it messed up the timing and spacing on it. And when you go back and watch, the Chiefs do so much 2-man and full field combo stuff, and you can't really afford to have 2 guys that are freelancing or 2 guys adjusting their routes on the fly. And you already know Travis Kelce. I just wonder if the Chiefs don't really have spot for a mid-season acquisition of DeAndre Hopkins to also fit in with that kind of role. So it almost feels like his role is kind of getting reduced to very narrow scoped. We're in the red zone, or we're isolating you one-on-one backside of everything else. And I wonder if that's what's feeding into the less reps that he's been getting, because I don't feel like as a whole it's going super well.
My point really wasn't even to try to get into any players that had a bad or flashy performance. My point was to say you have to get to find a idea. I think that versus this team and this roster, you saw a lot of guys played their best football. And we talked a little bit about this during the regular season. I'm trying to be disrespectful. The Houston Texans game didn't even feel entirely like a playoff game when you kind of think about it. Register I know they had to have the intent to take care of business, and I think they would turn it on if they needed to.
It did with Steve Spagnuolo when all right, we're called cake. Sure it was.
But just side of that, it felt like they were just getting the rust knocked off, and they were gonna peak at the right time. And that, we all thought, a lot of Chiefs fans felt like this is when the season started, which kind of sucks for Chiefs fans. It does, because you don't have the same kind of emotion as you otherwise would during the regular season. The emotions of the Bills game weren't really in the regular season weren't that big of a deal, because we be like, we'll see that eat the Bills. We'll see later, but I don't know. It felt like, just kind of coming back to it, it felt like a lot of the things that you bring up as potential issues for this team just didn't materialize. Joe Tooney at left tackle, good performance overall. Ozzie Johnson had an interception in the first quarter. So Nazi right, was a coach at too. Nazi wasn't getting exposed. Nazi wasn't in a position like he wasn't being, he wasn't being targeted and then picked on, and they weren't really able to pick on him all that much. I think there's the Bills weren't able to consistently put anything together. Just say, hey, we're gonna spam this guy for the entire game. We're gonna pick on the entire game. Picked on Bolt a little bit, put it there together, running the football downhill, and really they should ball it Josh Allen's hands to try to get control back of that football game. Maybe picked on Shamari Cup and covered a little bit. I just look at this raw. Like, so many guys, I think, elevated their game, had a good performance. And there's really, look, you're having to nitpick a little bit at some of these players, really, to say, like, oh, this guy could have, this was a major issue for this team. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, like some glaring thing for 4 quarters of football, like we've seen for some of these other games during the regular season.
Well, let's jump over to like the defensive side of the ball now. You're right. Like the Bills in the past have found like bits that they've been able to go after a specific part of the Chiefs defense. That's Spike Hughes. And if they're second game, we've seen them go after Nick Bowl for entire halves and try it before. Like they tried some of this stuff. They can do. They had Nazi Johnson and Shamari Hunter earlier this year. Like they've done a good job picking the parts of this Chiefs defense to attack and relentlessly going after it and get that fixed. Well, in this game, again, they had some success going after Nick Bolt. They had some success stretching Chiefs liability to the side. Some success going after Shamari Hunter, the stat formations, this release of it. There was good plays. They did get the Chiefs on a couple of those plays, but it was never drives. It was never quarters. It was never a half of the game. The Chiefs were adjusting and they were kind of shut. Not even if they weren't shutting it down, they were just making it hard. They were making it not easy and free over and over again. Whereas, flip side, you look what the Chiefs did or the Bills, they did the same thing all year long. They were with the same stuff because they said, hey, I don't know we're going to beat you. You can't make the adjustments like we can. So it was a good performance from the defense as a whole. I think they obviously still have some points that you would consider, weaker or like the weaker, not just the weak parts to it for sure. And the Bills did, but then they stopped because the Chiefs were getting stops. They did that as well. Like, credit to Nick Bull for making some plays in coverage as the game went on. Credit for Shamari Hunter. He's aimed on the plays in front of him. He is coming downhill. He is able to make those plays. Nazi Johnson had one of his better games of coverage. And it was a good job. Good job all around adjusting to what the Bills were trying to do, what they were trying to find those mismatches that they locally go after.
And then on top of all of that, you had a defensive coordinator that put together a masterful game plan. Cyrus O'Torrance, Buffalo Bills was Torrance. Is he?
Torrance. He said Cyrus O'Torrance, and that is my favorite big. Honestly,
Serge Torrance.
It's a lot of us I misspelled, but
anyway, he came out today. Like, did some media with some people today, and he came out and was asked specifically about that fourth and the pressure package, and a lot of discussion about where Josh Allen should have gone with the ball, where things work, and he basically admitted like Fags had shown us this look or a similar look throughout the game, and every single time they didn't bring pressure from those people. They didn't do that, so we intentionally slid protection on this one because he had just continually gone this way. They just boot the protection to the opposite side of where the pressure was coming. And then Spags went, okay, cool. I see how you're doing that. Next time I'm in a big high leverage moment, I'm going to show you that look again, and everybody's gone. And they did. And then Josh Allen had to panic, threw a ball, ended, Dalton Kincaid, it obviously falls incomplete because he was not able to get everything on it, was not able to set it base, do all that, was rushed. It was truly, when you have defensive players that are playing well, even when they are the, quote, weak links of defense, when they are playing their best football, and you get to let Spags cook, like, yikes, man. Like, everything felt difficult for Buffalo. Everything felt so difficult for Buffalo to do. Spags has, over the past 2 years especially, just made everything so muddy. Your teams, like, it's gross to try and play against him because at any given point, he's just going to snap his fingers and get the look he wants, or snap his fingers and do what he needs to do as a part of that. As any offensive lineman that has had to play against Spags in the playoffs, they will sit there and they'll tell you, we hate it. We hate having to try and protect against what he brings, because what he does not matter. If you've been able to try to pick up on the tendency, it's not there. Don't you get to jail? I think the Chiefs defense thoroughly outplay. I think the Chiefs security
Talk about high balls lined up on the ground in this game, and the Bills recover all of their left. Josh Allen was shook in that first. He was making some uncharacteristic mistakes, and he was a guy, but felt like those are things that he's avoided during the season, and like he was trying hard to get the ball up during the first.
He just came it on. He stopped taking say checkouts, just pick up yard. Like we talked about the ball was. A lot of it was because you're gonna drop into coverage and leave my 5-yard free 5-yard check out wide open. Who's Josh Allen on that final? I believe it was the final drive before the fourth down. He passes up check down and tries to force the ball to that lead Shear over the middle. Well, the defender, and it might have been Duffy or Connor, was dropping back, capped it, incomplete pass. Like they got an incompletion, 0 yards. So I'd take the check down up wide open for high. Like that was a Josh Allen press, and he wasn't the first word. Sorry, but yeah,
you're right. And like the Chiefs, I think the Bills have some fatal flaws offensively that got really exploded. They all have great playmakers in the game. Like they just don't have any. Like they really don't. And like Josh just carried the team it found a game script that kind of works, and and some of it, just kind of mitigating some of the risk you have with Josh, especially when you don't have great playmakers around him. I was woefully unimpressed with sketches in this game, but Ben Krimp and Chiefs were part of that. Some other guy that I thought played well, Jay Hicks. I think he had some good moments, and like Shamari Connor, like he has his issues in coverage, but I'll go back to we'll talk about situation football and some of the stuff they did on fourth down quarterback sneaks. The key fourth down quarterback sneak where very clearly and obviously the ball is short of the line to gain, and there was no wiggle room whatsoever for any conversation or narrative. But the guy that makes the play right before that is Shamari Connor making a tackle on Dalton Kincaid that creates a 4th and inches for the Chiefs to stop Josh Allen. And he's been much maligned during this year, but he had a couple big tackles in this game. He wasn't perfect by any stretch of the word, but you did see him just getting exposed in coverage left and right, and he also made some plays in the run game. It's just like that's just what's so fun about his team is, biggest moments, biggest opportunities, championship DNA Amari Connor, because this is his second Super Bowl, and he done nothing less than a Super Bowl in his career. But it's like just guys like that just can they all made plays, they all did something to contribute to that win on that side of the ball. Like that's kind of the reality of this organization. Yeah.
Well, the guy that in that same bowl that kind of stood out to me just for the same thing is and it's not I don't think he's an unsung hero. Obviously, my ridiculous game was George Karlaftis. It's like you look at Jan's right. The Bills don't mind a ton of playmakers in the passing game, but the point is that they have good enough guys, and you get a great day from Matt Collins. You've got Khalil Shakir, who's still good. You have those 2 tight ends that are both functional together. You have this run game that we're just balling off the ton. If you build a team that should be good enough with one of the best quarterbacks in the league to do a lot of it, and they did score 29 points against the Chiefs in this game, right? So it's not like they did nothing. I think that team's built enough, but they don't have playmakers, or the playmakers are young and developing, like Coleman and maybe Shakir still, Kincaid. But it was made for Josh Allen to kind of do it all, and that's why James Cook's taking some off. But a big part of the Josh Allen run game, particularly QB run game for the Bills, is huge. Or that while they're building an exchange, they couldn't have any success with the QB run game. I understand. I think there was one play where he slipped out and broke for a while, and James Cook had one longer run, but. For the most part, the Chiefs ball up the run game, especially from Josh Allen. They stopped the Steves, which we talked about on the live show or the post-game show, was just hey, guys, the Chiefs also up here. Chris is beating Torrance every single time, and they have to go left. And when they go left, Josh takes his big lateral step, which would be a huge chance to really muddy it up. And they were stopping them over and over again on that. And some of Josh's scrambles where he gets out of the pocket and heads out 10 yards deep right over the sideline and making these crazy throws, they weren't completing AO. And a big part of it is because Josh loves to roll right when he does that. And George Charlopoulos was getting on his horse, and he was taking off. I think he led the defense in QB hits. At least 2 of them were on the sideline because he was just chasing Josh Allen down, making him eventually just have to throw it away. Like, they just weren't letting Allen play the style of football this offense needs to be really dangerous over and over again. But that Karlaftis made a big play. I made multiple good plays. None more than when the Chiefs brought pressure, I believe, on second down or first down, whatever down it was in that final drive, right where the Kincaid play you're talking about. They throw a little screen out, and George Karlaftis backs out, and he goes and chases Amari Cooper down, catches this little screen. Like, without that play, that's an immediate new set of downs if he doesn't get there quick enough. It's just all these guys make different little plays. There's a bunch of players that maybe don't take over games or didn't take over this game, but they all played such a pivotal role. And you think the Chiefs' entire defensive performance from corralling Josh Allen in the run game, not letting him scramble and roll around and catch 3 runners across the middle of the field, getting pressure, and everything was nearly perfect across the board, or as perfect as it could be, I guess, against this good of an offensive player.
And, when you've got the gravitational pull of Chris Jones on the defensive line, teams have to account for.
Carson Torrance Cole was that.
Yeah, you did. There was a tour. No, you have to account for him. You have to know exactly where he is all the time. He still made an impact in this game, but you have to have guys like George Karlaftis step up. Mike Data might have had his best game of the season. He had a really good game, Charles Minihue made a difference once again. Had himself a tackle for loss, had a PDU. Like, this is, you get enough contributions from so many guys. We got to see some of the wrinkles of Spags throughout there. Nick Bolton at one point was not on the field on passing downs. They had 3 down linemen with Leo Chanel, the spy, and Drew Trample picking up the running back out of backfield. And that's a look that we haven't seen before this year. It's not something that they do regularly. It looked pretty good. That happened to be the play that it ended up in a touchdown. It was a wonderful throw to Matt Collins and all of that, but nothing to do with what was in the front there. It was just really cool to see so many different guys basically doing this small part that added up to something else. And I think that that's really what we see when we get to January now, especially with the defense of the past 2 years. It's not just one guy that's helping take over things or one position group. Like if you look at the Eagles, it's that defensive line. Like, they take over games. You don't see any particular position group take over the Chiefs defense. You just see it as a one big cohesive unit that plays really well within the structure of some defensive coordinator.
All right. We're going to get out of here pretty quick, but before we do, we're all together. Chiefs just won a game.
You just ain't back there yet.
I think we should do a sticker slaps and spirits roll.
Well, that is a tiny bit sad that you did this because I was going to interrupt you trying to get close to do this. Yeah. So,
it's sticker slaps and spirits. I'm going to go on that sticker to Nico Remy. He's going to spark a return game for this team. And I don't think put the ball on the ground really. In against the Steelers, that we did against the Houston Texans, but he had another big return again in this game. But he's been an impact player, changing the field position for this team. You give him the field position. He's done a great job in the return game, and he's one of those other players that probably hasn't got a ton of credit. And we haven't spent time talking about. There's so many other players that are worth discussing in this game. But I'm gonna give the helmet sticker to Nico Remigio and Soros Tyrants.
He grew reliable, catching the returns too. I know he could the ball on the ground, but he has all of the returns. He's funny because that first one, the bear caught, it was a little frustrating because he left with a lot of space, but everything else after that was perfect. He's been great. He really has been good. So no good points. I think it's a really good stick. Thank you. You're welcome.
Shit. Slap on good job. That's you.
Oh, me? My bad. Give me Mr. Kareem Hunt for a butt slap and a good job. He continues to be the Chiefs' best option running back. His vision is phenomenal. He makes some fantastic cuts and runs, and just every he runs the football. And this isn't to put down any other Chiefs right back, but you can just tell there's a little bit of a difference if he runs it versus any other Chiefs right back. Where I would say past great seasons now, right? And they didn't know that like Lumber, just because there's a patience, there's a rhythm, he can, I don't want to say make a lot out of nothing because he doesn't have the same athleticism he once did, but he goes for it. He turns, what could be small plays or no gains into good quality chunk plays. We saw a touchdown run. You saw it a couple runs throughout the entire game. He just so physical. He has the patience. He reads out the field very well. And this team doesn't run the ball stick anymore. They're not overly explosive. The success rate dipped a little bit. But Kareem Hunt, Mr. Kareem Hunt, has a knack for coming up with the nice big runs that do matter in situations he gets. So, butt slap. Good job. Woo.
All right, whole app. So for audio. For the audio listener, me just sucks.
Like he likes that.
I did. No, for whole ass bottles of bourbon to the entire Chiefs offensive line. Yeah, there were a few rough moments, but we have not been able to see the kind of comfortability within the pocket that Patrick Mahomes had for a very long time. And when you have an all-pro left guard, it's just so funny when they line him up at left tackle on the broadcast shows, all-pro left tackle under Joe Tooney's name. You've got a backup left guard in there, Creed, Trey, Jawan Taylor. There was a lot of time for Patrick Mahomes to do his thing. You don't get the kind of yards per attempt without time to throw the ball. And I think that's the part that made me the most comfortable because it was immediately clear that Patrick Mahomes was going to have time. And it's been a long time. We've seen good pass rushes really wreck this team. We've seen them wreck offensive game plans and stuff like that throughout the season. They just showed up. They kicked ass. They allowed Patrick Mahomes to do what he does best. So, whole ass bottle of bourbons to the entire Chiefs offense.
Well, the Chiefs season's not over, and you've got a few more weeks to celebrate this, to enjoy this, and hopefully the Chiefs can close this 3-peat out.
Wait, hold on before you close the show out. Craig, I don't know if we're going to have you back on here for the Super Bowl. We don't know how it's going to play out. Let's get a Super Bowl prediction from you because you will be there for the final game pregame. Hey, if you will, I don't know. What are your pre?
I'm the Chiefs are going to win. Jamari Connor's going to have a great day because he's going to play a lot, and they're going to need him to play a lot to stop Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts in the Philly run game. Yeah, but it is going to be a Chiefs victory. I'm going to say Chiefs win 24-17. 24-17. Defense closes it out. Big stop. They even stop a tush push. Like they even stopped one of those at one point. But yeah, 24-17 Chiefs.
I like it. There you go. For Craig Stout, Matty Wayne, Osiris Torrent, Osiris.
Yeah, you can say
Chris Tor, Cyrus the Torrent. I'm Ken Swanson. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll catch you up.
You read all Jalen Hurts tweets to at Swanson.